Just a little, right? Little without hands. Just a little movement. If you need hands, take them. If you're overworking, use your hands, but it's really just a way to get the arms up so the ribs are moving with the arms, and there's a little more kind of invitation for the breath to come in because it's needed. Good, letting it be graceful and fluid, right? Connecting to breath, connecting to your body, connecting to your movement, connecting to, if you're around windows, just that sense of outside, inside, trees, sun, earth, birds, light. One more. Good. And let's bring the arms back and just feeling breath, hands and feet on the ground under you, letting your feet spread and your hands spread. Right? If we think about there are many, many, many energy portals or chakras in the hands and feet, right? As well as nerve endings. I'm just going to take for a moment, right ankle onto the left knee. Again, just feeling that connection to not just the structure. I'm seeing a little hummingbird. It's great. But also the earth beneath your structure. And so my mom was a birder and she was a very petite woman. She was 4'10" and a half. So everyone called her a little hummingbird. Very busy, very active. So let's play with just a little flexion and extension and flexion and extension. And then maybe, so I walked my hands in to do that, but maybe just walk the hands back and do just a little, again, nice and slow, so that your body can, right, the weight of the body can move against the ground. Side and center and side. You can let your eyes go same direction as your bent leg or knees, or you can go opposite. Again, just feeling the movement through the ribs, through the breath, through the earth. Good. And I'm sliding further away, so I'm just going to walk my hands in again. Just pause, maybe a little point and flex with the foot, maybe a little circle with the foot. Good. And then sliding that left leg straight, both legs straight. Maybe again, just a little point and flex. Maybe even just taking a moment to extend hands, a little flexion and extension at the wrist. Little circles with the hands, with the feet. Change direction. And then let's do the other leg. So left ankle, right knee. Just bringing hands closer, feet closer. Find a place that feels helpful, useful, without being overwhelming. And then a little flexion and extension. Notice what can move. Is it the pelvis? Is it the ribs? Is it the head? Again, just feeling into your spinal movement, brain, spinal cord, even just that sense of cerebral spinal fluid around the brain and spinal cord, within the layers of the meninges. And then walking the hands back a little bit, and that little side to side tip. And you can do eyes open or eyes closed, but really that sense of the outside world, right? The nature, ground, earth, trees, atmosphere, sun, moon, solar system, planets, as well as inside, right? Nervous system, bones, skin, connective tissue, muscle, organs. And just the amazing amount of life in the body and around the body. And then slowly, let's extend that right leg, extend that left leg. Again, maybe just a little releasing of the hands and feet. Little circle. Good. And then just taking a moment to sit. You can sit with support just so your back or hip flexors aren't working too hard. Good. Maybe just a moment letting the ribs move forward in space, side, back, side, letting the pelvis is a little more static, but letting the head and neck be responsive, and then changing direction. Again, just feeling less kind of mental energy, tapping more into kind of body energy, breath, right? Your inner wind, your inner waters, right? The bones, your inner earth. And center, right? That inner fire, right? Whether it's your passion, your emotion, your digestion, your nervous system, right? There's so much kind of elemental movement in our body. Just landing in a place of stillness. Again, a sense maybe of water settling, fire settling, earth holding, wind moving gently. Good. One hand on heart, one hand on belly. And noticing where your breath is. And noticing where nourishment comes in, right? And we all feel it differently. Sometimes it comes from deep in our bones. Sometimes it comes from the stars. Right? Connecting to just the source of life, whatever that means for you. Whether you scope out or scope in to find it, just feeling it move through you, around you, within, through, around. Filling you up. Good. And even just a sense of support, whether it be animals, spirits, sun, ancestors, angels. Divine feminine, masculine, whatever you feel drawn towards, whatever shows up for you. Just feeling held and nourished, supported. Right, so that you may be able to show up for others, being present for others as you get more nourishment. Good. And let's just open with the sound, either a hum or an om, even be a sigh, right? Whether you're feeling more internal or external. Letting it also be a ripple through the universe. Inhale. Oh. Okay. Let's just shift on to hands and knees. So if you're on a sticky mat, you may actually want to unfold your blanket just so you have a little sliding element with your blanket. So sometimes I just like unfold and refold so it lays on the sticky mat. Okay, so I have a little bit of rug movement. Okay, on hands and knees. And just a little flexion and extension. And flexion, noticing where there's more movement or more ability to initiate. Right, sometimes we initiate more from the pelvis because there's more movement, or from the head because maybe we're thinking a lot, or the eyes are open. Noticing the movement through the ribs and shoulders. And then coming to somewhat of a neutral place. And I'm just going to let shoulder blades come towards the spine and away, and come towards the spine and away. So almost sliding wide and sliding in and sliding out and sliding in. Slide wide, slide in, and pause. And I'm just going to shift the hand so one hand comes forward. Right, so one hand can come either a little bit closer to the knees as one goes further, and then same, just a little slide in towards the spine and wide. And now there might be moving in just slightly different directions. Wide and in and wide and in, and then switching. Good, and the arms are connected to the heart and to the breath, so just noticing any movement. Right? Maybe there's tenderness or space or constriction. Just honoring what is there, not needing to move around it or push through it. Spread, and just that sliding or widening, moving out and gathering back in, however you feel that. And then both hands under shoulders. And again, just one more. With both sides moving together, the right and the left. Wide and narrow. Good, and then I'm just gonna shift. So hands slightly forward. I'm gonna let my right knee slide towards my right hand. Let the left leg slide back. Good, maybe even just look over one shoulder and over the other shoulder. All right, letting the hips sweep side to side. Let's do that one more time. And hips just responding to the movement of the head as you look. And then pressing into the hands and slide back. I'm going to let my back round and just sink the hips back towards the heels. The back's rounding. I'm not even coming all the way down. I'm just playing with that movement through the kind of under shoulder, right? Like a flying squirrel. And then left knee slides forward to the left hand. I'm just going to let my hips settle onto the heel if that's available, or you can even put a blanket or block between the foot and the heel. And again, just a little looking over one shoulder. And then the opposite shoulder, just feeling what's happening in kind of the pelvis, the front hip, the belly, the throat, the eyes, the ears. What is around us, behind us, within us. And then coming back to center, again, sliding that left knee back, letting the back round, and maybe even coming up on fingertips as you shift your weight to your hands and then shift back. And then maybe sinking the hips further back. Good. And again, I'm going to shift forward, right knee forward towards the hand. This time I'm going to let that right foot just sneak to the left a little. And then let that left leg slide back even more. Maybe the hip comes towards the floor, maybe it doesn't really matter. Again, I'm just going to look over one shoulder, over the other shoulder. Good, over that first shoulder. And then I'm going to look, so the front knee, I'm going to look away from that knee and I'm going to let the back leg, the knees pointed towards the floor, I'm going to let that knee slowly turn towards the ceiling. And then even let the torso turn towards the back leg. Good. And then turn again towards the front leg. Good. Letting the hips turn towards the front knee. And then sliding that front knee back. Good. And this time, maybe hands a little bit forward and maybe more of a spinal extension. Maybe even looking to the hands as the hips come back. Knees don't have to be together. And then forward. Let's take that left knee forward. Pause, left foot slides over to the right, letting that back leg slide back a little further. Again, honoring what's happening in your body. But again, I'm going to look over one shoulder and then the other shoulder. Good, noticing the relationship of ribs to pelvis. Good, the legs split like this, just noticing inner thigh, groin, front hip. I'm going to turn away from that bent knee. The back leg, which is turned down towards the floor, knee down, is going to turn knee up. And then I'm going to turn towards that leg. Just getting a little more into inner thighs and groin. And then turning back. Good. Staying low, hips heavy. Good. And then sliding that left leg back. And this time, forearms to the floor. And again, a little bit of an extension through the spine. So sitting bones lift a little, breastbone lifts, and the hips back. And letting your weight shift forward, and maybe even letting the palms flip up towards the ceiling and shift back. And forward. Good, hands to the floor, lift the elbows up. Good, I'm just going to take right leg back, just toes under. And just shift my weight back, reaching into that back leg, and then shift forward onto the toe tips, maybe even over the toes. And then back again over the tops of the toes to the ball of the foot. And then one more time, rolling over, just rolling easily over the foot onto the toenails. And then back again. Good, and I'm just going to play with lifting that leg for a moment. And just letting that leg sweep to the right and to the left and to the right and to the left. And the body may follow. And just notice what happens when you bring the leg further right, maybe further left. One more. Right and left and down. Then I'm just going to slide that knee all the way forward. Again, right foot towards the left. Left leg back. Good. Externally rotate that back leg, left leg up to the ceiling. Turn towards that leg. Look past that leg. Good. And then sweep around to the front again. Good. Looking away from that bent leg, or even around and back towards the straight leg. And then sliding that right leg back. Let's round the back again. Drawing the hips back. And hips forward. Let's take that left leg back. Again, I'm just going to pull heel back and then roll forward and then roll back and roll across the ball, just letting the toes roll however they can. And then lifting that leg up. Again, feeling your relationship to your earth, to your own body, to your breath. Just sweeping the leg left and right, just feeling into what feels available, and left and right. Good. Left and right. And as you explore more range, what does that feel like? What does your own capacity feel like? Good. And center. And just sliding that left leg all the way forward, left foot to the right, right leg all the way back, as far back as your feels available in your body. And then externally rotate and turn towards that leg, and even turning past the leg. And then turning forward again. Good. And then sliding back. And rounding and sinking those hips back. And then coming forward again. Good. And so hands and feet just maybe a little bit wider. And I'm just going to shift. So shifting more weight onto the right hand and right knee. And then shifting towards the left hand and left knee. Coming center, I'm going to squeeze shoulder blades together and shift to the right. And center and shift left. And spread the shoulder blades apart. I'm still shifted left. Going to slide across to the right. And squeeze shoulder blades together. And then slide across to the left. And spread shoulder blades apart. And slide across to the right. And let's go back the other way. Just sliding left. A little squeeze. A little slide. A little spread. All right, just visiting these kind of two sides of the body, right? Feeling the similarities, feeling the differences. And then let's come to center. And then let's just pause for a moment. You can even bring your hands a little closer to your feet, backs of the hands on the floor. And I'm just going to bend my elbows a little and straighten. It doesn't have to be all the way straight, and bend and straighten. Notice what happens when you bend the arms more or less. And straighten, and then maybe just roll the wrist. I'm just kind of sweeping the hands, fingers towards the knees, away from the knees, right? Internally rotating, externally rotating the arms. You can bend the arms, straighten the arms, feeling the support from your legs, feeling the movement in your shoulders and your neck. Good, and then let's just sit back on our heels for a moment and pause. Okay, so just dropping my weight back. Again, listening to your body, feel what feels available. I'm just going to lift the knees up a little and then lower the knees and shift forward enough just to curl the toes under and sit back. And maybe even just lean back a little bit, right? Ribs are dropping, front ribs are dropping, just leaning and then shifting forward. Good. Point the toes back. Good. See if you can get the toes to stay right rather than pulling towards each other. Right? So it's easy to kind of flip the toes into each other and get the heels out of the way. So letting the toes be a little more straight back so that when you lean back and lift the knees, you get a little different feel, maybe through the foot. And then shifting forward. And again, toes under, and just noticing where you land on your toes. Big toes, little toes. Can you feel all the toes spreading? And again, front ribs stay lowered as you lean back. And shift one more. Toes pointing straight back, spreading the toes, maybe feeling the toenails on the floor, even the little toes. And let your weight shift back again. Maybe knees lift. And forward. And shift. And toes under. Good. Maybe even slowly lean back to lower the hips down. and forward and up and point. Okay, again, back to hands and knees. You can always change hand position. I'm going to take knees a little wide, hands a little wide, little bulldog stance. And I'm going to lift one foot, so right foot, I'm just going to sweep right foot out to the right and left and right and left and right and left. So my body isn't moving very much. I'm really isolating how is the thigh moving in the hip joint? What does external rotation feel like when the foot comes across, or internal rotation? And then I'm just going to let the body now sweep with. So maybe it's a little more quickly, or just letting the body move like a tail wag. Good. And then coming to center. And let's do the other side. So other foot lifts. Again, I'm going to take the foot out to the side and then across to the other foot. Pelvis is a little more still or static. Out and in, out and in. I'm really feeling what's available at the hip joint. And then a little more fluid, so the pelvis follows, right? Couples with pelvis, leg, spine, neck, head. Good, and coming more neutral. And let's sit back with the knees and feet wide. Good. Let's just do a little side bend, one side. And up and over to the other side. Good. First side again. You can let the hands slide further out or forearm come towards the floor. And then slide back in. And second side. And slide back in, just noticing how different each movement is. Good, let's come back to wide knees, wide hands. I'm going to start with right foot up. And again, foot out, then foot in. I'm adding an element, so we'll try it one more time. Foot out, foot in. This time I'm going to keep the foot in. I'm just going to sit back. And then forward. Sweep the foot out, in, sit back. One more shift. Sweep the right foot out, sweep it in, sitting back. And again, I'm just going to add an element. Right foot sweeps out, in, sit back. This time I'm going to let the hands slide in. Hands slide behind. You can go on fingertips, small fists, turn the hand out. Just going to press into the hand, but more importantly, press into the shins as I shift my hips forward and up. And that free arm can move either up to the ceiling or overhead. Looking up under that arm, slowly lower. Shift forward, hips up, right foot sweeps up and out. Left and in, hips sit back. Slide the hands in. Again, press into the shins. Let the legs work more than the hand as the hips come forward and up. Slowly down. Again, legs more than hands. Forward. Push with the legs to come forward. Right foot sweeps out and in. Slowly lower the hips back. Light touch on the hands. Light touch on the hand behind. Let the hips push into the lower legs to come forward. And up. And down. and forward and center, and just sitting back on the feet for a moment, knees wide, feet wide. And let's do the other side. Hands forward, shift forward, left foot up. So left foot sweeps out to the side and across to the right. Let's do one more time. Out to the left and across to the right. This time I'm going to slowly, again, hands are light as the hips move back. Good. Left hand comes behind. Again, I'm going to anchor more from the legs than that left hand. Hips come forward. That top arm can either go up to the ceiling or up and over and down and forward. Push into the legs to lift. Lift that left foot out and in. Slowly lower. Left hand back. Again, lift, push from the feet, from the shins, from the hips. Up and back. Slowly lower, light in the hands. And forward. And out. And in. And back. One more, last one. And feeling, again, feel where your strength is, where your strength isn't, where your breath is. Right? Not about doing it perfectly, more about being present to what is. What's awake, what's waking up. Center and sitting back. Good. All right, I know it's a lot of hands, so let's just interlace fingers and just roll wrists around forearms, and then change direction. And separate the hands, roll the wrists, change direction, roll the elbows and wrists, change direction. Shoulders, right? Maybe there's this kind of sweeping up and back, forward, up and back with hands and wrists and elbows, and then pulling from behind and bringing it forward, right? Like sweeping a cloak over your head. Good. And then settle, shift forward. One more series, small series. We're just going to do right arm up to the ceiling and right arm under between left hand and knee and over to the left side. I'm going to do two more before I settle. Right arm up to the ceiling and then down and under and through. Maybe bend that left arm, ear towards the floor like you're looking under the couch. One more, up and under and through. This time land that right upper arm, outer shoulder, back side of the ear, right just behind that right ear. Maybe just a little weight into that left hand. And then slowly come up. Other side, left arm up to the ceiling. Look up, reach up, see what's available. Reaching under and through. And almost using this as a weaving. What can you weave together? Right, whether it's light and sun with ground. And reach. Right, knitting. Sewing, creating. Left outer arm, shoulder, back side of ear. Little weight into that right hand. And then slowly, slowly release. And let's just shift onto our back. Have a blanket handy. I'm just going to do a tiny bit of rolling and then plant ourselves for a moment of stillness. So on your back, and just let your body land. That same sense of But what can I settle back into? Settling back into something bigger. Whatever that means for you. Right? The consistency of the earth. Even just the consistency of gravity. Maybe it's even deeper. Good. And then just a little bit of, right, so you can do gentle rocking. So it depends on where your body is today. You can do more kind of up and down rocking. You can even stay on the ground and do more side to side rocking. Maybe from feet to upper back. Good. Maybe you can swing the legs up and over. And then let the legs lengthen out in front. Paschimottanasana and up and over. Halasana. Again, nice and slow. So you're moving with and against the ground. With your own body, with your breath. And legs up and over. You can even, if you want, bring hands behind and just play with elevating the hips and legs. Just to invert. Right, turn things upside down. Changing view. Changing perception. And forward. And up and around. And back again, maybe Sarvanagasana, just one or two more rolls, just adding what feels helpful or interesting or grounding. And even stay with your feet overhead, maybe even bring feet to one side, knees to one side, other side. And then finding your way back to the ground. Good, arms out to the side. Let's just do a couple of knee drops. Knees slowly dropping right. Head rolling right. And then center. Knees dropping left, head rolling left. And center. Good, one more each side. Again, following breath. And following that, the breath, the wind. Coming back to that elemental, right? Following the waters in the body. And the earth in the body. Good, even the fire in the body. Right, that we need all the elements. And how they dance and relate and support us at different times for different things. Just feeling into the support, feeling into the movement, coming back to center. Good. You can slip the blanket under your thighs just for a few moments of settling and really let yourself be held. Right? What can you put down? Your body, your breath. What else can you put down? What can you let go of completely, even if you pick it back up again in a few moments? There's so many things that we hold onto: our age, our gender, our beliefs, our view of the world, our view of ourselves. Just putting everything down. Just shedding the layers just briefly. Like the leaves falling from the trees. That moment of kind of dormancy and stillness, and being held, suspended in that greater container of earth and cycles and rhythms. To be revived in the spring, just feeling that quality in your body. And wiggling fingers and toes. Again, gently, quietly, as if it's been a long winter. With a curiosity and maybe a freshness or a sense of rest. We're still connected to that stillness. So you slowly stretch and reach like a newborn. Moving, curious, folding, bending, maybe gently rolling. And just pausing here, head still on the ground. Good. And then slowly coming to sit. If you need to stay down, please stay down. Good. If you're still down, maybe one hand on heart, one hand on belly. Just feeling this body that's connected to so many bodies. All bodies. And let's inhale for whatever it is, a sigh, a hum, an om. Inhale. Oh. Mhm.